Well, good morning, glorious people of the internet. We are back at the trail, getting those morning steps in before work. And wanted to, explain something. I was thinking this morning when I was grabbing my camera that this series, this week in particular, probably seems like an episode from Groundhog Day, where it just seems monotonous, the same thing over and over. And I want to explain that. I'm trying to compare multiple cameras, and I felt the best way to do that was to put them through the exact same situations so that you can get a fair comparison between all the cameras. Don't know how many it'll be this week, but so that you can see how each one performs outside, inside during the day, and then inside at night. Because if you're anything like me, you do a lot of research before you actually invest in something as expensive as a camera can be. Now, I'm using the DJI Osmo this morning, and this particular camera, I believe, comes in at around 200, maybe a tad more than that. So, that's not a small amount of money. And then the Sony that I used yesterday, that's around that $400 mark. The GoPro, another 2 to 3 depending on the version you get, and if you get the 9, it can be closer to $400. So I would encourage anyone to do a ton of research before deciding on purchasing a camera. So while I do apologize that it's kind of like Groundhog Day and it's the same thing over and over, I think it's very important that we do that so you can see how each camera performs in the same situation. Now, with that in mind, let's take a view of the landscape, shall we? Now, the one thing I really do appreciate about this camera is that gimbal. Very smooth. Now, that said, that gimbal, when you're holding it like this, when you're out doing things, it does seem very delicate. Like you can't be as careless with it as, let's say, you would a GoPro. Because a GoPro you can throw in a bag and it's not a big deal because it's meant to be used like that. It's an action camera. This is not. While it is small, has a very small form factor, it's not very rugged. I have an Alonzi case on it, which does help out a bunch. It's got, this particular Alonzi case has a 1/4 mount at the bottom, has an action cam mount on the side and another one on the back, actually 2 on the back. And so I can mount this on a number of different selfie sticks. So that's great. And it does keep it from getting dinged up, scratched, and those kind of things. So I do appreciate a lot of the accessories that you can get with the DJI Osmo. Looks like we might be getting some rain. Let me see if I can back up. See that in the background behind me? Looks like we might be getting a little morning rain, so I'm going to pick up the pace here, and we'll see you back in the office. Well, we are back here in the office, and now we are attempting to use the DJI Osmo Pocket in a daylight office environment. Now, if you follow a lot of content creators, they say if you don't have access to studio lighting, then you can use natural light. It's a free alternative to using studio lights. So I'm sitting right in front of a nice size window here in the office, and I've got the camera facing at about, we can probably lower this just a little bit, about eye level. And I'm using the internal microphone. Even though I do have the DJI microphone adapter, I'll use that tonight for the nighttime studio edition. So one thing that I did think about today, and it's something that I can improve upon when it comes to these style of vlogs in a series, every time I turn the camera on, I reintroduce myself as if it's the first time you, the viewer, are seeing me. When in a series of little short videos that comprise the entire video. So for example, today in the morning, I was out on the trail, used the camera, and at the end I said, "See you in the studio." What I should do is when I turn the camera on, like I did today, is say, "Welcome to the studio," because that's where you expect to go from the last video. I don't have to reintroduce myself. I did all that in the first video. So, purpose of this entire series is to get better, to learn, to improve, to make those little incremental changes in the way you set up and video your vlogs to improve and make it more enjoyable for you, the viewer. So that's one of the takeaways that I learned today. So look around, tell me what you think about this moderately low light performance, interior, using the inside mic or the internal mic. Let me know about this video quality. Again, this is the DJI Osmo. It's shooting at 4K, 30 frames a second, and I am using the D-Cinelike profile, and that gives me a little more latitude in post to make some color corrections, color grade it, and kind of improve the overall look. So in the comments below, let me know what you think of this. See you tonight. All right, so we're back in the office, and this is the PM studio test of the DJI Osmo Pocket. Do have a lavalier mic set up now, so we're not using the inboard microphone or audio. And so now the question is, does this 4K 30 frames per second image look acceptable for YouTube? What do you think? We've seen this DJI Osmo Pocket perform outside, bright light, looks great, very stable image. We've seen it here in the office using just the two, what we call ring lights and the natural light coming through the window. Looked okay, sound was decent, it was usable. I would say a much softer image inside with the ring lights than outside. This sensor needs a ton of light in order to really be effective. So here in this environment, is this a camera that you can use if you're just doing talking head type videos? Or is this type of camera only really good outside when it's really bright? And now let's talk about that audio. Now I've found that when I'm outside using the built-in microphone, there's one on the front, there's one on the bottom, that it provides very usable audio. I'm not gonna say it's great, but it's usable. So what about in a studio with a lav mic? That's the question. So I look forward to seeing your comments. Let me know below, and we will see you in the next one.